Julius Caesar, or Gaius Julius Caesar, is one of the most famous names from ancient Rome. He became the most powerful man in Rome and taking the title of dictator in perpetuity. Here are 10 interesting facts that you need to know about Julius Caesar. Number 1. Julius Caesar was not born by cesarean section. Julius Caesar was born on the 13th July 100 BC. Gaius Julius Caesar was the youngest child of Gaius Julius Caesar and his wife Aurelia Cotta. He had two elder sisters, Julia Major and Julia Minor. Contrary to the popular belief, Caesar was not born by cesarean section. During those days, cesarean section was usually fatal to the mother and performed only when the mother was dead or dying. According to some sources, the name Caesar originated because one of his ancestors was born by cesarean section, from Caesus, Latin for cut. Number 2. Julius Caesar had to leave Italy after Sulla won the civil war against his uncle Gaius Marius. Patrician is what you call the ruling class families in ancient Rome. Julius Caesar was born into a patrician family but does not have the political influence. But his fortune was reversed. Caesar's father was made governor of the Roman province of Asia, and his aunt, Julia, married Gaius Marius, who is one of the most prominent figures in the Republic. When Caesar was in his teens, a civil war broke in Rome, which was between his uncle Gaius Marius and his rival Lucius Cornelius Sulla. In 85 BC, at the age of 16, Caesar's father died, making Caesar head of the family. After a year, Caesar married Cornelia, the daughter of his uncle's ally, Lucius Cornelius Cinna. After Sulla's victory in the Civil War, Sulla ordered Caesar to divorce Cornelia. Caesar refused. Because of this, he lost his inheritance and escaped by leaving Italy and to do military service in the province of Asia and then in Cilicia. Number 3. At the age of 20, Caesar was kidnapped by pirates. In 78 BC, after Sulla's death, Julius Caesar returned to Rome and acquired a modest house because his inheritance was confiscated earlier. In 75 BC, Caesar set out from Rome for the Aegean island of Rhodes to study oratory under the famous professor Apollonius Molon. However, on the way across the Aegean Sea, Caesar was kidnapped by pirates and held prisoner. The pirates demanded a ransom of 20 talents of silver, but Caesar insisted that they ask for 50. The raised ransom was paid, and he was released. Caesar immediately raised the fleet and pursued and captured the pirates. He then had them crucified, as he had promised while he was their captive. Number 4. Julius Caesar was part of the first triumvirate. Upon returning to Rome, Caesar began to work with Pompey the Great, a prominent political leader who was known for his military exploits. Caesar displayed progress within the Roman political system. He became a quaestor in 69 BC, an aedile in 65 BC, and a praetor in 62 BC, and in 59 BC he became a consul, the highest political office in the Roman Republic. While in partner with Pompey, Caesar also aligned himself with Marius Licinius Crassus, a Roman general and a politician known as the wealthiest man in Roman history. Pompey and Crassus were known rivals, but Caesar acted as a mediator between the two. It was during the 60th BC when they made an unofficial alliance known as the First Triumvirate. Pompey and Crassus were known rivals, but Caesar acted as a mediator between the two. It was during the 60th BC when they made an unofficial alliance known as the First Triumvirate. This made them the unofficial rulers of Rome and gave them lands to reign over with. Crassus taking Syria, Caesar taking Illyrica and Gaul, and Pompey taking Spain. The triumvirate lasted until the death of Crassus in 53 BC. Number 5. Julius Caesar led Rome to victory in the Gallic Wars. Julius Caesar has been considered one of the greatest military commanders in history. His most famous achievement was in the Gallic Wars. This was a series of military campaigns against the feared native tribes in the region of Gaul. The Gallic Wars lasted from 58 BC to 50 BC. This extended Rome's territory over the whole region of Gaul, which is present-day France and Belgium. His success in the Gallic Wars granted Caesar unmatched military powers, which had threatened Pompey, who had aligned himself with the Senate. In 50 BC, the Senate ordered Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome because his term as a governor has ended. Julius Caesar defied the order and returned to Italy without disbanding his army by crossing the Rubicon River. With this, he thus ignited the civil war against Pompey in the Senate. Upon entry to Italy, he said the famous quote, "Alia icta est," meaning the die is cast. Number 6. Julius Caesar had an affair with the famous Egyptian queen Cleopatra. In 49 BC, the Great Roman Civil War began with Caesar driving his opponents out of Italy. He defeated Pompey's army in Spain, but later enjoyed a major victory in the Battle of Dyrrhachium. Then were decisively defeated by Caesar in the Battle of Versilius. Pompey fled to Egypt, and Caesar followed him, but Pompey was assassinated before Caesar's arrival. In Egypt, Caesar became involved in an Egyptian civil war between the pharaoh Ptolemy XIII and his elder sister, wife and co-regent, the famous Queen Cleopatra. Ptolemy had directed his army to prevent Cleopatra from meeting Caesar, but she smuggled herself rolled up in a carpet to meet the Roman general. Cleopatra and Caesar became involved in an affair, and Caesar helped her claim the throne of Egypt. Number 7. Julius Caesar was appointed dictator in perpetuity in 44 BC. When the civil war in Egypt ended, Julius Caesar won several military campaigns against the remaining supporters of Pompey. With his victory at the Battle of Munda, Caesar ended the Great Roman Civil War on the 17th March 45 BC. A dictator in the Roman Republic was an office which was given wide-ranging powers. Full authority of the state was given to him for the purpose of dealing with military emergency or to undertake a specific duty. Julius Caesar was first appointed dictator in 49 BC and reappointed the following year. In 46 BC, he was appointed dictator for 10 years, and in 44 BC, he was appointed dictator perpetual, meaning dictator in perpetuity. During those times, he filled the washed out numbers of the Senate with his supporters, raising the number of senators to 900. In 48 BC, he had also been granted the tribunician power for an indefinite period, which prevented the other tribunes from interfering with his actions. Number 8. Julius Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March of 44 BC. Caesar's appointment as dictator perpetual made several senators fear that he wanted to overthrow the Senate in favor of tyranny. Led by Gaius Cassius Longinus and Marcus Junius Brutus, the conspirators stabbed Julius Caesar to death in a location adjacent to the theater of Pompey on the Ides of March or March 15 of 44 BC. More than 30 men participated in the assassination, and Caesar was stabbed 23 times. Brutus had sided with Pompey during the civil war, but Caesar forgave him and even appointed him to important positions. Caesar, being assassinated by Brutus, a man whom he had forgiven, trusted, and loved, has been a portrayal of a popular tale of betrayal. When he was young, Caesar had an affair with Servilia, the mother of Brutus. This has led to some speculation that Brutus might have been Caesar's child. Number 9. The month of July is named after Julius Caesar. With no sons from his three marriages, Julius Caesar had named his adopted son and great-nephew by blood Octavian as his sole heir. Since Julius Caesar was hugely popular among the general public, this gave Octavian immense powers. After the assassination of Julius Caesar, it was followed by a civil war which ended with the collapse of the Roman Republic and Octavian, or Augustus Caesar, becoming the de facto emperor of Rome. With this, Julius Caesar played a major role in Rome, which transformed it from a decaying republic into a stable monarchic empire which lasted for 1,400 years. Shortly before his assassination, the month of Quintilis was renamed July in the honor of Julius Caesar. On January 1, 42 BC, Julius Caesar was posthumously granted the title Divus Iulius, meaning the Divine Julius, and becoming the first historical Roman to be officially deified. Number 10. Julius Caesar is considered the father of leap year. Before Caesar came to power, the Romans used the calendar system based on the lunar cycle, which has only 355 days in a year. This system is 10 and a quarter days shorter than a solar year, the amount of time required for the Earth to make one complete revolution around the Sun. Roman officials had to add extra days to the lunar calendar to keep it aligned with the seasons. This didn't always happen, and as a result, the calendar was confusing. After consulting with the astronomer Sosigenes, Caesar implemented a new system, the Julian calendar, which went into effect in 45 BC and was made up of 365 days in a year. However, because of the actual solar year is 365 and a quarter days long, Caesar also added an extra day called a leap year every 4 years to make up the difference. The Julian calendar remained the standard until the late 16th century, when a slightly modified version of the system known as the Gregorian calendar was introduced. Today, the Gregorian calendar is the world's most widely used civil calendar.